Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fredericksburg. We are situated on the ancestral homelands of the Rappahannock and Potomac tribes, and where enslaved people were forced to work on the land. We acknowledge that this land holds many histories, great stories, and the blood of a people.
A better place to live. Start right here in this place, the land of begin. We have come to celebrate the good things in our lives. We have come to join our hands, give a hug and share a smile. Together we can make the world a better place to live. Join right here in this place, the land of liberty. One more time. We have come to celebrate the good things in our lives. We have come to join our hands, give a hug, share a smile. Together we can make the world a better place to live. Join right here in this place, the land of
Good morning. I am Kristen Tuxbury, and I use she, her pronouns. I'll be your worship associate this morning. Here at the UUFF, we come together both in person and online as one community. Our services are live streamed and recorded, and our designated camera-free zone is the last four the left side of the sanctuary. So there. Yeah, not stage left, like your left. So if you wish to remain off camera during our service. We strive to nurture learning, inspire spiritual insights, create compassionate relationships, and lovingly transform our community and the world. If you are joining us as a guest or a first-time visitor, we're glad that you are here. Those in person are invited to leave their contact information at the welcome table in the foyer. For those joining us online, you're invited to visit the worship portal on our website, uuffxbg.org, and fill out our connection card. Whether in person or online, this will allow our ministers and staff to get in contact with you in the weeks to come. Everyone is invited to fill out a card with a personal, significant joy or concern that you would like to have shared during the service. For those in person, you may pick up and leave a card on the Joys and Concerns table, also in the foyer. For those joining us online, you are once again invited to visit the worship portal on the website and fill out the Joys and Concerns form. Our pastoral care team members collect the in-person cards and read them later during this service. For those online, Joys and Concerns will be read during our next service. Please join us after the service for coffee and conversation. It is so nice to have you here worshiping with us today.
Well, buenos dias. Good morning, everyone. On this beautiful June morning. Starting to get a little warmer, but I think we're going to have a nice day until next week. This coming week, where it'll be in the 90s, and it'll be summer, and spring will be over. Aww. The solstice is coming anyway, so I think it's fitting. So this is our third Sunday of the month of June, and the theme for June is renewal. So we have been thinking about this in our chalice groups, the small groups that get together and discuss topics, and this month it's been renewal. And so today's service is going to be about that topic. Our opening words today are The Hope for Renewal by Reverend Dr. Rebecca Savage. She's the minister, the senior minister at the Universalist Church in Rockville, Maryland. Welcome, beloveds, welcome. Welcome, Karen. Welcome all. We come to spiritual community this morning with many hopes in our hearts. The hope for inspiration, the hope for comfort, and the hope for renewal. In this time and space, may inspiration water our thirsty souls and bring us soulful satiety. In this time and space, may comfort bud and blossom in the gardens of our hearts. In this time and space, may renewal course through us, as electric as a surge of energy, as serene as a nourishing meal, as contagious as joy, and bring us vitality and rejuvenation. So may our time together honor all the hopes that we hold within. May our time together bless us with the gifts of inspiration, comfort, and renewal. Come, let us worship together.
This morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. If you are online and have a chalice or candle, please join me as we light our chalice together. Wherever you are this morning, join me in reading our chalice lighting words as they appear on the screen. We come together with our tired minds and bodies, with our confession and questions,
our uncertainties and our fears. We come together with our hopes, with our pasts and our ideas, our passions and our faith. We come together bringing all of who we are, trusting that in gathering we will be renewed.
Together we can create a world we long for.
All right, despite your tired bodies, I'm going to invite you to stand as we sing our opening hymn, number 1024, When the Spirit Says Do. And I just won't be bothered at all if you want to do a little jig while we sing this song. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do.
Guess what day today is? Yes! It's Father. What else? Oh, your son's birthday. Awesome. A lot of things to celebrate. I'm going to recognize our fathers, those who identify as fathers here today, starting out with a poem from my dear mentor when I became a minister, Reverend Peter Friedrichs, and it's called For Fathers and Fatherhood. For sleepless nights awaiting the curfew breakers, for anxious hours as a driving instructor, for hours spent on sidelines cheering and watching school plays, sometimes resting our eyes, for the pressures of bringing in income and wait till your father comes home, for teaching moments and mentoring moments, for making up answers when you just don't know, but are expected to because you know everything, for scrapes and boo-boos and band-aids, for hugs and kisses and silliness and play, for bedtime stories and early morning sports practices, for all the aftershave and ties received as gifts, for handing over car keys and waves goodbye, for father-daughter wedding dances and cradling grandchildren for the first time, for all the moments and all the meaning in this role of a lifetime. We honor all those who identify as fathers and father figures. Will all those among us who identify as a grandfather please rise in body or spirit or wave your hand if you're a grandfather? All right, yay for our grandfathers. Woo-hoo. Wow, awesome. Now will all those who identify as fathers please rise in body or spirit? Blessings on you. We appreciate all of you. And we celebrate you. You are held and beloved. I will light this candle for our love for you. Happy Father's Day. Time to sing our children to their classrooms, youth group, whatever. So I hope you have a great time in their RE.
You've got the light of within you, the way it is. So let your light shine, the world awaits you, going your way and
It's me. Actually. Even as a rose first buds, begins to spread its leaves and petals wide to the world, and fully comes into blossom, so too its life must come to an end. Yet the life that once was continues to bless the life that still is through the falling of the petals to nourish the earth below, through the scattering of its seeds near and far, and through the memory of the rose's perpetuating beauty. This is an eternal renewal. Like the rose, those special souls we have held in our hearts and have ushered into the great mystery still live in and amongst us through our memories. And they are now our ancestors. The legacy that they have left us is not forgotten. We are better because they lived. So this morning, we will remember the losses that our church community has had this year. First, I would like to honor the 3 members of our community who died in the past year. Christy Pennington, who died on August 8th, 2023. Christy was the owner of a home-based business for 30 years and was an active member of both the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fredericksburg and the Unity Church of Fredericksburg. Christy will forever be remembered as a beautiful, radiant soul, an artist, a visionary, and a loyal, passionate friend. Natalie Davis, age 78, she died on December 2nd, 2023. Natalie was an active, longtime member of UUFF. She served on the board in many communities, chalice groups, and was known as the UUFF Flower Lady because of her beautiful flower arrangements that she brought in from her garden and adorned our fellowship. While working full-time and raising a family, she earned an undergraduate and a master's degree from Mary Washington College, which is what it was called back then. She was the executive director of the Rappahannock Council on Domestic Violence, which is now known as Empower House, and she taught English at Stafford High School. Mike Killian, age 73, died on May 22nd, 2024. And Mike's celebration of life will be this coming Saturday here. Mike attended the UUFF since 2017, and during his time here, he liked to attend adult religious education classes and to help with community service projects. He loved to be outdoors in nature, whether it was fishing in the Po River right outside his back door, or leading edible plant walks as a master naturalist or birding. Mike taught biology and chemistry at Cortland High School, and he finished his teaching career at the University of Mary Washington as a senior lecturer in the Department of Biological Sciences. our dearly beloved ancestors will certainly be missed. I now open it up and invite anyone who has lost a loved one, family, dear friend, or a beloved pet in the last year or so to please say their name out loud. And I will place flower petals into this bowl of water for everyone mentioned, symbolizing the eternal flow of life. Then I will pour the water and scatter the petals on the ground at the base of one of the trees in our memorial garden to symbolize the unbroken circle that starts again through nourishment of the soil and the living plants. So please, anyone who has lost a loved one, be they human or any other kind of animal, please say their name. Beamer. Say that again. Okay. Oh. All right. Okay. Oh my goodness, did I forget Bill Setzer? I think I did. I am so sorry. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you, David, for reminding us about Bill Setzer. That was in the summer, or September rather. Bill Setzer was a longtime member, and he was quite the character. Everybody knew his stories, didn't know whether to believe them or not, but they were so entertainment. He was just an amazing person to see during a potluck and hear those yarns, but he also loved the outdoors. He loved deep sea fishing. Photography was his career. He was in the Army. He too will be dearly missed. So we honor the memory of your and our loved ones who have passed from us into the great unknown realm of afterlife. They are our ancestors. Whether they lived a long life or a short one, they were precious and sacred. We honor the life they lived, and we call on their spirit to guide us through the ever-unfolding, never-ending story that we call life. Thank you.
I'm going to borrow this. Just feels like more of the vibe. Okay. So, our reading this morning is You Are Tired by E.E. Cummings. You are tired, I think, of the always puzzle of living and doing, and so am I. Come with me then, and we will leave it far and far away. Only you and I understand. You have played, I think, and broke the toys that you are fondest of. And you are a little tired now. Tired of things that break. Just tired. So am And I come with a dream in my eyes tonight, and knock with a rose at the hopeless gates of your heart. Open to me, for I will show you places that no one knows, and if you like, the perfect places of sleep. Ah, come with me. I'll blow you that wonderful bubble, the moon, that floats forever and a day. I'll sing you the Japheth song of the probable stars, and I will attempt to unstartle steeps of dream, and I will find the only flower, until I find the only flower, which shall keep, I think, your heart, while the moon comes out of the sea.
That feels like bedtime, doesn't it? Well, we've come now to the point in our service when you can sit back, relax, take a snooze. I mean, isn't that what sermons are for? A woman named Gladys attended church services one Sunday morning. The sermon seemed to go on forever, and many in the congregation fell asleep. After the service, she walked up to a very sleepy-looking gentleman, extended her hand in greeting, and said, "Hello, I'm Gladys Dunn." The gentleman replied, "You're not the only one." Gladys Dunn, yes. So I'll try not to disturb you if you drift off, because I think it's important to rest. In fact, it's essential for life. Now, I'm just 2 weeks away from retirement. I really don't know what to expect. When people ask me, what am I going to do? I say, slow down, relax. Isn't that what retirement's all about? Being able to manage your own time, sleep in with no guilt. Maybe do as much or as little as you feel like doing. I hope so. You see, rest is a state of being. Life may flow in an endless stream, but in our everyday lives, rest is that place where we consciously stop and where everything is possible. It is a new beginning for the next moment. Rest is not just about stopping. It's also about working toward a purpose while finding time to savor the intrinsic rewards. Rest is the seed of action and the portal to spiritual awareness. They are the moments of calm within the spaces of our normal, mundane existence. When I meditate, I take a deep, slow breath. I feel my heart pumping on the inhale. There is a feeling of expansion and growth as my belly comes out. I wonder how long I can keep going. And then I hit that point where I must stop and let go. My whole body seems to relax as the air leaves my lungs. What a relief. It feels great. But once again, I must come to a stop. But this time, I usually sense a twinge of sadness rather than relief. That feeling of tranquility in the exhalation is the sweet essence of rest. But we can't stay there, just like we can't expand forever. But knowing that we can return to that peaceful calm makes the journey worthwhile. All the cycles of life go through this simple exchange of expansion and relaxation. To have growth, there must be rest and vice versa. Daytime yields to nights, the summer to the winter, animals sleep, plants go dormant, things are born, and they die. So, if rest is so natural and essential to life, why do we try to defy it? Most definitions that I saw characterize rest in the negative, such as the lack of motion or the cessation of activity. We are socialized to crave activity. Personally, I've often wished that if only I could clone myself, I could get more done. Yeah. Parents today seem to be programming their children's lives so tightly that they need schedule apps on their smartphones to just get through the day. It's as though our modern Western culture has deluded itself to believe that we have transcended the boundaries of activity and we no longer need to rest. Pre-modern concepts like Sabbath and siesta are replaced by 24/7 by 365. Governments fall when they can't guarantee unlimited economic growth. Do we actually think that we can inhale without needing to exhale? Everyone has to sleep and eat at some point. Our bodies give us no choice. This is purely natural, as biological forces within our bodies shift our energy to repair and maintenance. But we are assaulted by cultural forces every waking moment that entice us to do, consume, and acquire. This is the new religion, the new pursuit of happiness. It's an economic system that pulls us like an invisible current. Now, we can swim over to the banks and get out of the river if we want to, but it's scary. It's a big change. We've been taught that if we stand still, we'll go backwards. And those on the banks, now those are the losers. But what are the real costs to us and our environment if we just keep going and going like zombies? Ironically, our culture encourages leisure. The problem is that it is packaged and marketed as yet another consumer item that we need to work long hours to afford. Today is Father's Day. One of the perks for fathers is that we get to totally relax. Don't cut the grass or tackle that honey-do list today. You don't even have to grill the hamburgers tonight. Find a hammock and take a nap. But just for today. Tomorrow it's back to the rat race. Now, all cultures and religions observe holidays as a time to sleep, a time to stop, work, and give thanks for the abundance of life. Most religious holy days, particularly ancient ones, were based on the lunar or the solar cycles. Pagans recognized 8 Sabbats in the wheel of the year to worship the turning of the season. Theravada Buddhists observe the Upasaka, which occurs every 7 or 8 days in accordance with the 4 phases of the moon. Buddha taught that Upasaka is for the cleansing of the defiled mind, resulting in inner calm and joy. The creation story in the Hebrew Bible has the Creator stopping after 6 days of work to rest and celebrate the completion of the universe. Practicing Jews believe that God commanded his people to rest on the Sabbath. Throughout the world, the pace of life differs. agrarian societies, particularly in the hot regions of the world, stop work in the middle of the day when the temperatures are at their highest. Manually intensive work is tiring and naturally requires frequent breaks to regain strength. When I was a teenager, I visited my extended family in Colombia, which is right on the equator. And even though my uncles and my aunts were professionals, the culture at large still took siestas at midday. Around noon, they closed their offices, and then they came home for the big meal of the day, and then a nap. When they went back to the office, they were refreshed, almost like they were starting a new day. So, how did we get on this crazy pace that we find ourselves? Well, it came over us gradually, over several centuries. Early industrial societies in the 18th and 19th centuries introduced a worldview of rationalism, which changed the value proposition of time. Benjamin Franklin, in 1742, I believe, coined the phrase, "Time is money." Time spent not making money was considered wasteful. The German sociologist Max Weber came up with the term Protestant Work Ethic. He did this to explain how capitalism took hold in Northern Europe and in North America. So according to Weber, after the Reformation, work was identified as a sign of salvation. Calvinists believe that God predestined some people to salvation and others for damnation. But since people couldn't influence their own salvation, it became imperative to believe that one was chosen for salvation. A lack of self-confidence was evidence of insufficient faith and a sign of damnation. Worldly success became a measure of that self-confidence. So Luther and Calvin both taught that hard work was a component of one's calling from God. The notion developed that it might be possible to discern that a person was one of the elect by observing their way of life. Hard work and frugality were thought to be two important consequences of being one of the elect. Sloth and laziness were signs of damnation. That's the Protestant work ethic, how it began, according to Weber, and how it's tied in with capitalism. At the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, workers were expected to put in very long work hours, 7 days a week, with few breaks. This led to all kinds of abuses and safety risks. After all, tired people and dangerous machinery don't mix. Eventually, with the rise of the labor unions, breaks and workdays were written into contracts. The practice of a weekend day off based on the Christian Sabbath started in New England around the end of the 19th century. But by the first 2 decades of the 20th century, unions also added Saturdays to accommodate the Jewish workers. Eventually, the 5-day work week was written into law with the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938. So this is something we have to thank the unions for. But since then, in the U.S., the average hours spent at work have risen steadily from 40 to 50 hours a week on the job and with less vacation time. Households with 2 wage earners worked over 400 more hours on average in 2020 than they did in 1979. Our incomes have risen and our consumer economy has grown, but our downtime has suffered. In the last 2 years, I went from being a full-time worker which in my case was an average of 48 hours a week, to a three-quarter-time worker. This year, I averaged 38 hours a week. Those extra 10 hours a week have served as a downshift toward my retirement. Disciplining myself to take 2 days off rather than one required me to get over those feelings of being a slacker and letting myself enjoy my time for myself and my spouse. I got paid less, but I felt richer. Economists consider one's allocation of time as an economic choice among different opportunities that each yield value. I see it as an ethical and spiritual choice about how we spend our time on this plane of existence. I bet very few people think to themselves when they're on their deathbed that they should have spent more time in the office. As we in American society have exchanged more of our time in the marketplace for income, we have spent less time doing other things that yield different intrinsic values. During that same time period between 1979 and 2020, American families spent less time doing things for themselves, such as cooking, cleaning, sewing, gardening, and caring for their families. We volunteered less time to community causes, and in the process, our sense of citizenship and communal accountability has eroded. Instead, we write checks. Well, maybe we send off to PayPal or something, but we send money, donations, and we outsource our community involvement to professional nonprofit organizations to carry the load. We spend less time investing in our relationships and establishing our caring networks to support our loved ones. In addition to outsourcing our services, much of our monetary activity goes toward acquiring material goods. Some of it is for necessities, but much of it is for our self-esteem and for things that promise to save us time, if only it did. Juliet Shore is an economist who has spent the last 30 years studying the work-time balance in industrial economies. And she is a proponent of this concept called plenitude. This is the concept of diversifying your wealth into things that matter most to you. Now, she doesn't advocate asceticism or vows of poverty, but diversification of our total investments, not just our money. So the 4 principles of plenitude are: 1, reallocate our time to a balance of valuable pursuits, whatever they are. 2, work less and spend less. 3, invest time in ecologically restorative activities. And lastly, to rely less on markets for income and consumption of goods. Create your own things. So these principles of plenitude can be summed up easily by work and spend less, create and connect more. So work and spend less, create and connect more. Making such a shift on the personal level involves a conscious choice to swim to the bank where the current is calmer. Is it hard to break free from that stream? Yes, you bet. To find a respite, no matter your age, what you do, where you are, to find a respite, you have to make it a priority. To savor the space within the moments, you must be open to different kinds of riches. Instead of looking for salvation in your work, be at peace with your one life here on earth. Accomplish things, yes, but without rest, how will you know what you've done? It's time that we burst that bubble of the consumer treadmill so we can become aware of the spiritual value of time spent together in gratitude for the abundance of all the things that are around us. Whether you are a tortoise or a hare, it doesn't matter. It's not the point. We all move at our own pace, but doing so with purpose and consciousness, smelling the roses, whether it's work or rest, makes every day a holy day and life a blessed journey. Ashe, amen, and may it be so. So, how would anyone like to share any thoughts about this concept of Sabbath and rest and relaxation and slowing down and getting off the treadmill and all of that our society, do we have, I'll get the mic. Do you have a microphone? Okay. Here we go. Since it's closer, Dave, I'm going to start here, and then we'll work our way back. That'll work.
Okay. Just a quick note about unions. So in my scholarship, there's this concept of social determinants of health. If anyone wants to go down a really cool rabbit hole, social determinants of health, like start there. Yeah, but being a member of a union or having a family member that's a member of a union is a social determinant of health, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that investment in taking care of people is one of the things that determines how healthy people are and how long they live, which is really
I gave you those years, 1979 to 2020, and guess what happened during those years? The unions got weaker and weaker during those years. And look what happened.
Yes, this morning on the news, I heard something I've heard before about the number of jobs that are open in our country and how if we had an appropriate immigration policy, we could fill those jobs. And I think a lot of people are working way too many hours because of the labor shortage.
Mm-hmm. I stopped at 2020 because the statistics are kind of weird because of the pandemic. But during the pandemic and the shutdown, people being at home, being able to work at home and get a different idea of how you spend your time and what you spend your time on. Things did change. And remember the Great Resignation? There was a lot of people that took stock, that they were working themselves to the bone, and they didn't want to do that anymore. And there was a lot of changes in what people did for their work, a lot of which was to find something that was fulfilling, less grinding, and so I don't know, that's just kind of a shift that happened, thankfully. Yes. Okay.
Hi. I have a lot of things to say about retirement, and my first thought about retirement before I retired was a totally erroneous thought, and that was I thought that I wouldn't have that much to do. People think that if they don't have a hobby. Okay, if you have a house, you have a full-time job. And my recommendation, and I haven't seen anyone do this as a recommendation, is to buy a new house in the last 5 or 10 years of your before retirement. So that, and even try to get a warranty on it for like 10 years, so that you won't be spending all of your time repairing the house that has fallen apart because you're at the end of your so buy a new house or some, that's just an idea, but I would wish I bought a new house early, whatever.
A newer home.
A newer home. Yeah, and then I just wanted to mention something. I have a lot of contributions to different things, and they're all sending me these legacy things where think about in the future that if you give money for in your retirement to this and that so that when you die these contributions will remember you and all of that. And I don't know how. I guess they all know that I'm that age, which is nice to remember that you're going to die real soon. But that's what they're telling you. So you want to give them your money. So anyway.
That term retirement.
So relax is not one of the words you have in retirement.
Relax is not one of the words you have in retirement, according to David. Man, you're bumming me out. That word retirement, it's kind of a fraught word. It's got tire in it, like tired. But I think of it as changing the tires, like at the pit crew during a race, and you been gone for 40-some years, let's say, working, and it's time to change the tires and get back in that race. And but you don't have to drive as fast. You can slow it down if you want. It's your choice.
So I am 28 years old, and basically I left home at 18. I graduated high school at 19, and ever since then I have been wanting to put it in a garden. And this year I was finally able to. And I guess what I want to take a moment to acknowledge is I came from a very poor background, and I am young as far as in the grand scheme of things, and I want to take a moment to acknowledge just how hard it is for people that are impoverished to be able to rest.
Yes.
And I think it's I am thankfully now in a position where I am able to. I am supported. I am being able to support myself in a lot of ways, and I'm hoping now that I have that, I can put the energy forward to better the system so that more people that cannot rest can.
Yes.
And I encourage people to keep that in mind.
I just had a thought. It keeps replaying, and I'm like, pick me. But the song "Cats in the Cradle," and it actually came on last night. I told Google to play some music, and I was like, oh, what a fitting Father's Day song. But also just the fact that life's going to pass you by, and if you don't stop, name with family passes you by, kids grow up, so.
Savor those moments. Don't work through them, right? Yeah.
So my grandparents, my father's parents, were homesteaders in southwest Kansas, and they were German and Lutheran. And when Weber wrote about Protestant work ethic, that's who he was writing about. So my grandmother ran a cafe in a small southwest Kansas town because they needed a cafe. And she also, of course, helped with the harvest. So in the September of 1981, she helped with the harvest. And I don't know what's harvested in southwest Kansas in September. I think wheat's harvested in the spring, so maybe the second growing of wheat. So helped with the harvest, and the harvest was all brought in by Saturday night. And the following Saturday morning, she died of metastatic colon cancer. So because she didn't believe in just letting pain get in the way of not working.
Wow. She worked right to the end. Wow. Okay, one last, Susan. Tag, you're it.
You're going to love retirement, gotta say. Okay. The hardest thing for me, it's been 2 years now since I retired from teaching public school after 33 years, thank you, is knowing that I don't have to be busy all the time. Like, it's okay to sit down and read a book, and I really started reading books and just stopped making to-do lists every day. I still do that some, but just so I don't forget things. And the other thing is just real quick, I was thinking, I saw something online the other day about considering just really deeply thinking about the term the cost of living.
Yeah.
I was like, oof, that's
Yep. And on that note, that's a great one. Hope you all think about the cost of living. What truly is the cost of living as you go through your work week. Thank you, Susan.
I was an athlete once. All right. When you give to the UUFF, you help us nurture learning, inspire spiritual insights, and lovingly transform our community and the world. For those gathered in person, greeters will come around with baskets for donations. All are invited to donate via text message on the number on the screen. You may visit the website at uuffxbg.org/giving. Today is a Share the Plate Sunday, and the Share the Plate offering is for Stafford Junction. They are a charitable, nonprofit, 501c3 organization serving children and families who live in poverty in Stafford County. They provide critical hand up for those who live in poverty through their focus on education, empowerment, and healthy living. They partner with residents, local churches, service agencies, and businesses to connect lives, rebuild relationships, and foster understanding across socioeconomic lines. For anyone, I used to volunteer with them. For anyone who hasn't seen them in the summer, it's a really, nice, safe program for people. Our offertory will now be given and received.
Softly and tenderly, Spirit is calling for you and for me. See on the
been shared and freely given here help us to grow in generosity and caring for the world of which we are a part.
Good morning. I'm Jackie Arthur, she, her, and hers. And I'm a member of the pastoral care team. Here at UUFF, we have a weekly ritual and practice of sharing the joys and concerns of our beloved people with one another. If you have a joy or concern that you would like to make known to our gathered community to be shared or not shared in Sunday worship, please fill out this form and let us know. I'm going to be reading some of the joys and concerns today, starting with the concerns first. Mandolin, this is for Marcia. Marcia is going through more challenges legally. There is a GoFundMe fundraiser set up for her, and it is on our Facebook group sharing, the link to donate. And if you could help her through this time period, it would be truly appreciated. I have a concern from Jean Austin. Some members of my family who are dear to me have recently lost their father. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And I have Joy, one of our own, Marion Colson, who's present today, and I'm very happy. She has been through a rather trying health concerns the last month. And as you can see, she's in a healthier state right now, and we're very proud that she's that way, aren't we? And let's take a few moments to be present with all the concerns and joys spoken and unspoken in this community. During this next piece of music, you're invited to silently come up and place a pebble, right there, into the bowl of water for any joys and concerns that you're holding in your heart.
Announcements for you, activities, events, things coming up. And at the end of next Sunday's service, after next Sunday's service, Mandolin, our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, will be holding a safe zone training, which is training about how to truly make our congregation, this place, safe for LGBTQ people. Of course, this is Pride Month, but this is our third time we've had this training. And our hope is that everybody in the congregation will take this training at one point. And let Mandolin know. It's also in our weekly announcements. If you're getting those weekly announcements, there's a little place to to register for the class. And we got enough registrants, so the class is on, and that's next Sunday. And then the last service is a kind of a shameless plug. It's my last service on June 30th, so I hope you all can come on that service. I'd love to see you, say goodbye, and yeah, you know, do a little crying. But I hope to see you then. And I want to thank everybody for the wonderful picnic that and the recognition and celebration of my retirement at the picnic last week, which was amazing. It was awesome. Our closing words are a blessed journey that I wrote, which basically are words coming from our sermon today. Life flows on an endless stream. Rest is that place where we stop and everything is possible. A new beginning for the next moment. Rest is the seed of action and the portal to spiritual awareness. Invest your time ethically and spiritually with a purpose. Work and spend less, create and connect more. For whether you are working or resting, make every day a holy day, and your life will be a blessed journey.
Our closing hymn this morning is 352. I invite you to join me standing as we sing hymn 352, Find a Stillness.
Join me in reading in unison our words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of love and service. May it be a catalyst for spiritual growth and social justice as we carry it outside these walls into the world we live in, until we are together again.
Go in peace,
serve the world, and return again in love.